Students, we are going to understand some terminologies regarding the web applications, because in the previous class we already understood some of the different type of terminologies regarding web applications, that is web server, what is web browser, what is web application. We already understood that particular concept. So once again we are going to review regarding some related terminologies or terms regarding web applications. What are the terms regarding the web application? So web server. So what is a web server? It is the software that takes the request from the web browser and sends the requested information or file and executes it. That means, what is a web server? It is a software that is capable of executing a web application, and based on whatever request we are making from the web browser, it will accept that particular request in the form of, generally here I provided, what is that? Web server accepts the HTTP request and reply to the client with HTTP response. That means every time we are giving the HTTP request and we are also getting the HTTP response back. So the computer in which a web server program runs is also usually called a web server. So that means the web server program, we know that. I will tell you the basic thing here. See here, I will tell you some program, some concept using the tool. See here, I have a web server. So I have a web server. I will write web server. It is a web server. And we know that generally a computer which is not connected to any other device, it is an ordinary computer only. So whenever two or more computers are there, I already tell that two or more computers are there, these all computers are interconnected with each other, then we can say it is a network. Then we can say this entire thing is a network. So if every client means normal computer, every client consisting of web browser, I will write web browser. What is a web browser? Web browser is an environment which provides an environment to run the web application or website. We know that. So if we have different types of web browsers are there, like so Internet Explorer, Firefox, Chrome, etc. There are so many web browsers are there. These web browsers we are installed in our computer. For what purpose? We can directly type the URL. We have the address bar. In that particular address bar, we will type that particular website URL, like http www.facebook.com or gmail.com, like this. Generally, every web server consisting of a web applications, there was a number of web applications or a single web application. For example, this web server consisting of 3 web applications. What is a web application? I already tell that web application or website both are same. Web application, I will write here simply, what is a web application. So there are 3 web applications are there. This is a web application, This is also web application. This is also web application. So web application or website, both are same. Both are same. We can also say web application is nothing but a website, but sophisticated user will tells it is web application. Unsophisticated user, he or she will tell it is a website. What website consists? What web application consists? Web application consists collection of interrelated web pages. There are lots of web pages will be there. Each web page is interrelated to each other. Each web page is interrelated to each other. This is web application 1, this is web application 2, this is web application 3. We are making the request to the web server and we are getting back the response from the web application, because we makes the request to the web server and we are getting back the response to the web browser. What is a web browser? Web browser is a environment or a client side software to run the websites. Please remember that. And we have HTTP protocol. HTTP request we will make and we will request. I will write HTTP request and we will get back the HTTP response. We will get back HTTP response from the web server. We are making HTTP request to the web server. We are getting back the HTTP response from the server. Okay, this is called as a round trip. This is called as a round trip. Please remember, this is called as a round trip. Okay, here we understand some terminologies like web server. What is a web server? Web server is a software which provides an environment to write the server programs. The server programs will be resides in the web server only. So generally we will make the request from the web browser, because web browser is an empty. In the web browser we will type the URL. So then what happened? So this request response will be happen. Okay, please remember, we understand what is a web browser, what is a web server, what is a web application. Okay, please remember that thing. And what is HTTP? HTTP means hypertext transfer protocol. Okay, so I will erase this and we will go back to our document. We will go back to our document. So here we already understand what is the definition of the web server. It is a software that takes request from web browser and sends the requested information or file and executes it. Web server accepts the HTTP request and replies to client with HTTP response. The computer in which a web server program runs is also used to called as web server. Okay, please remember whatever I just tell you, that definition. What in the examinations, if anybody asks you to write the what is web server, you have to write that particular web server. And what are the important characteristics of the web server? Please remember, these are very important characteristics whenever we are writing regarding web server. What is that? It is always connected to the internet so that clients can access the web pages. We know that the real-time web servers is connected to the real-time servers, real-time web servers. It is generally, what is the main purpose of these particular web servers? So we know that generally all the applications that will be installed in our system, whenever anyone give you the setup file, the setup file can be installed in your system. You are saying that installing in your system. So that is the installation. But whenever we are installing a web application in a web server, we are not saying it is an installation. We will say it is a hosting. What is hosting? Hosting is nothing but we are installing the web application in the web server. That is hosting. So whatever hosted websites that can be always connected to the internet. So that's why web servers will always access to the clients. That means we are accessing the Facebook or Gmail or Twitter. These all things we are accessing by daily, because it is 24/7, 24/7 availability will be there. So the server is also a computer. Please remember, server is also a computer, but it consisting of the web application. So we are making the request and we are getting back the request back. Okay. From web server, it has an application called web server. So it has an application called web server. So I will draw this some diagram here. So it is a web server. Take, it is a web server and this is a web client. This is a web client. Web client makes the request to the web server. This web server consisting of some web application. Web application is consisting of interconnected web pages. Web pages. I will tell you what is a web pages and how to develop the web pages. So using HTML we will learn that HTML HTML we will learn how to create the web pages. So interrelated web pages will be there in the web server. So these all web pages consisting of business logic also, but whenever we are getting response, we will not find any business logic in the client. We will not find. Only business logic will be there in the server, that will be executed in the server. It will not come back. Here we can only find the HTML. We can find HTML page. What is HTML, what is CSS, we will discuss. So we are making the request to the web server. We are getting back the response to the client. But we can only find the, what we are finding here, HTML file or HTML page. We will not find the business logic. But the business logic will be there. That will be only executed in the web server. In the web server. Okay, please remember that. So that's why the application, it has an application called web server. It will runs always. So whenever we are making the request to the web server, we are getting back one web page. This web page can be developed using 4 different technologies. That may be a Java. You can develop the web application using Java. You can develop the web application using Python. You can also develop the web application using .NET. I will write here using .NET. You can also develop using, sorry, here what happened, okay, .NET. You can also using the web applications using PHP. There are different type of technologies and languages are there to develop the web applications. In Java we have different web servers are there, like Apache Tomcat. I will write Tomcat here. Apache Tomcat is the popular server. In our syllabus also we will use this particular Tomcat server in Java. So in Java we have servlets, JSP, Java server pages. we can develop the web application. So that will only executes in the web server. It will not be executes in the web browser. It will come back. All the JSP pages or servlets, it will be only executes in the web server. Okay. So Java programs, we can develop the web applications, web pages using the local servers called Tomcat, JBoss or Glassfish. There are different types of servers are there. You can easily select that particular servers and we will execute that. We will execute. So if you take a Python, using Python also you can create the web applications. So we have a tool called Django framework. Using Django you can develop the web applications. You can develop the web applications. And in .NET we have ASP.NET. Using ASP.NET also you can develop different types of web applications, nothing but websites. In PHP we have XAMPP server and WAMP server, LAMP, LAMP server. There was different types of servers was there. In that we have .php. Okay. Like there was a preprocessor pages. Okay. We can also call that is personal home page. PHP is popularly known as personal home page. Using PHP also you can develop the application, but in our syllabus we are learning basic concepts of the Java, how to develop the web application using a Java through the local server Tomcat. Okay, local server Tomcat. Okay, in that particular thing we will learn. Okay, so let me go for some other terminologies. What are the terminologies was there? Another terminology is HTTP protocol, hypertext transfer protocol. What is the main goal of hypertext transfer protocol? It is stateless or connectionless protocol. We can say hypertext transfer protocol is a stateless or connectionless protocol. That's why we are using in web server request and response. Because for example you can ask me a doubt, sir, you are telling only HTTP will support for the web servers for making a request. No, FTP will no, why not we will go for FTP? Why not we will go for Telnet? Why not we will go for any other particular protocol? Why we are choosing HTTP? So why we are the main goal is to provide this type of protocol is it is stateless or a connectionless protocol. That means whenever we are making the request to the server, it immediately processes and gives the exact output. Then there was no connection established between the client and server. What is that? Let me see. See here. For example, this is a web server and this is web client. Okay. We are making the web server request for an application. Then what happened? A page will be appeared. For example, www.facebook.com. A page will appear here. So after login page, once again home page will come and appear. But once the page will come to the client, there was no connection established between the client and server. So hypertext transfer protocol is capable of transferring any type of data, that may be audio, video, okay, text, any type of data you can transfer using hypertext, but it is a stateless or connectionless. That means once the request will go to the server process the request to the client, then there is no connection established between the client and server. Okay, so that is why we are using the hypertext transfer protocol. Another protocol is also going to use, that is hypertext transfer protocol with security, HTTPS. What is HTTPS? HTTPS is providing extra security. There was the certificate, security certificate will be there, so then no person will not hack the website in between the communication. Whenever the communication was going to be done, so this is the thing. And now we are going to understand the another terminology, that is domain name. What is a domain name? When should we use the domain name? So I will continue one second.